Hello and welcome to Missing BTS Hours. I'm Cindy, a longtime ARMY, and in this podcast, I am discussing BTS under the context of their hiatus and ARMY's relationship to them during this time of scandals, of enlistment, and generally the lack of live content together as a group. It will be also lots of reminiscing and keeping up to date with their various activities, both online and off. This podcast is for you, ARMY. Let's get started. I have the pleasure of speaking with one of my greatest friends ever, best friends ever. This is Casey.
Hi.
Oh my goodness. This is just gonna be us kind of freeballing and talking about our love for BTS and like specifically in the light of their enlistment period and how we feel about it. Tell me about how you felt about them in 2018 and just like their image, everything. Tell me what enticed you in that beginning.
I got into K-pop in general in 2016, towards the end of 2016. My friend actually introduced me to K-dramas first,
Mm-hmm.
and then she slowly started introducing me to songs. I still have that list somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
where she gave me a little list of TV shows to watch and a little bit of songs to listen to. It had EXO, Miss Bang, Super Junior, BTS, Not 7, and a couple other groups. And I have that list somewhere. And I was like,
Gen
it
boy
was a little bit
bands.
older, yeah, for sure. I'm personally not more into the older generation, aka Super Junior.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I got into BTS. I feel like I got more immersed in the world around 2017. I think that's when I was like, okay, I'm an ARMY, for sure. I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in it for life. It was also around the end of 2018 when they were doing the VMAs. Was it the VMAs?
The V,
The
like
BBMAs. The
the
BBMAs.
Billboard first.
Yeah, the Billboard, and they were
Yeah.
trying to get votes. That I had never had Twitter. I got Twitter just for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I started slowly getting into them. Started voting, started streaming, slowly started watching their old stuff, and No
Yeah.
More Dream, all
Wow.
those good timey videos.
Right.
And that's when I started getting into them. 2018, around when DNA came out, I remember being up at like, I don't know, I think they released the song like at 12:30
Midnight
midnight
for us. Yeah.
here in the US.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I miss those days just because I felt, I don't know, I felt included almost. Like I was doing my part.
It's amazing. It's like a sense of community.
Yeah, it is.
And it's something that like I think every fangirl kind of figures out once they get into it and start like, you know,
Yeah.
falling into just sharing internet space with others. So that was always my
Yeah.
favorite part of it too. I felt the same way when I was trying to get into BTS in 2017 through an
Yeah.
introduction of a friend. And then from then it kind of just like became like this huge avalanche afterwards.
Oh, I just want to learn their name.
Yeah, I just want to learn their names. It's like that one TikTok song. It's like, who is that in the back? I'm telling you. And for me, it was obviously Yoongi. Should we talk about our biases now? Literally, like,
Honestly, let's do it. No,
or our
for it.
favorite? Because obviously, OT7,
OT7,
all the way.
all the way.
This is a consensus, but obviously Yoongi was my first, Suga. And even sometimes I feel kind of weird saying his actual name because
I
I feel like there has to
know.
be some type of distinction. I find myself catching myself saying it more than I do Suga. I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll start with you, Casey.
Ooh, hey,
Tell the world.
Tell the world. Honestly, I love Jin. Love Jin. That's my bias.
Yes.
But it always alternates every day.
Mm-hmm.
But Jin's my bias. I think because he is older and like I love how humble he is, especially after learning his backstory and everyone like freaked out how he's the son of a CEO and all this stuff, and he himself decided to grow up with these men now, when back then they were boys, to grow up with them. Like, he didn't want his family's help. He didn't want to do anything with the money that he may have. So, to see that he basically struggled with them, I don't know, I really, I gravitate towards that in a person, and I think that's why I, I love him. And I love him
Yes.
as humble as he is, because he shows that in small ways, especially with how they started way at the bottom. You know this. We all know how much they struggled back then. They were passing out their own flyers So
For free events,
for free
yes.
events, you know? So I don't know, I think that goes to show you who he is as a person where he chose to stay when he probably had many outs, you know? So I don't know, I think that's why he has a special place in my heart. However, I can say that for all the members, you know? Like they
Of
all have a
course.
special place in my heart. So yeah, that's why Jin's my vibe.
Oh,
Yeah.
lovely. Jin has always been one of those members to me that is so remarkably authentically him. He
Yeah.
doesn't put up a front. I think his persona is being authentic to himself. And if he finds himself beautiful, he's going to tell you he finds himself beautiful today.
Exactly. Exactly.
I love that. I love that. And so we
Wow.
love it when they tell it how it is. And Jin is
No, no.
literally a beautiful man. It's not even
No, he
funny.
really is. Honestly. Have you seen his pictures lately? Wow.
Yes, yes. And him being in these different variety shows as of late for the promotion of Happy, and he looks
I
so
just he look
different.
younger. He
And he looks
literally
almost
looks younger.
younger. So
I'm
real.
like, okay.
So real. Like the stylists are working with him. He's been very colorful these days. Like, you know?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love
I mean, about my personal reasons, of Suga being my bias, it's just like to me, like I still remember the first time I saw him in a music video and I was like, who that in the back?
yeah, who's that
Who
with
that
the
in the
mint
back?
green? Who's that in the mint
Who
green?
is that in the mint green freaking hair? But in the mint green hair was literally the best type of like hair color today, honestly. Sometimes I think about it like, wow, they gave him the best look ever, you know? So I remember the music video that I saw him for the first time ever. I was like, no way. My friend gave me this small crash course of who they were and why they were important because it was Billboard Music Award era where they got the first ever, type of award given to a K-pop, the social media artist of the year. So yeah,
Yeah.
anyways, it was a big deal in her head and it wasn't to me yet. So I was like, what is this? So we watched these music videos together, and when War of Hormone came on, I was able to distinguish them already from each
Yeah.
other and like who was a rapper, who was a singer at that point. That's when Suga would always jump at me. I was like, who is this person? Who's this in the back? And she would tell me who they was, and I was like, what? What's his name? His name is Sugar? Is he like, what does that mean? Is he sweet or something? Then obviously when I was like doing this huge avalanche of research, of listening to their music more, of getting in it, Wings was the first, was the latest entire complete album that they released. Because You Never Walk Alone was still like on its like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and Love Yourself still didn't come out since then. So Wings was my first ever introduction to BTS as a whole unit. And when I found out, when my friend said each one has an actual solo songs, and it means something completely different to each one. Like they all touch different themes of like life. And I was like,
Yeah.
what? What do you mean? And I felt like it was amazing that it was music that was so deep in lyrics. I looked and like I would like Google translate all of like the lyrics from every single solo song. And
Yeah.
when Yoongi's First Love came out, in the tracks, like I stopped. I was like, no way. What is he talking about? He's talking about his love of the piano, him growing up to find out that this was his calling, and the hardships relating to just wanting to be a person in music and be an artist like this. I was so entranced, and I love people who are passionate. And I felt like I resonated with him over the fact that like there was just so many obstacles against him to get where he wanted to be, which is at the end of the day just music. He didn't really want to be in a boy band or like in a K-pop group, whatever, but that's what happened. I fell in love because of that. And me being delusional, like legit, I was like, this is like First Love, because that's exactly the song, right? First Love. And I'm like, me too. But no, but to reel it back in, I was just more enthralled over the fact that there was a person in K-pop that was so passionate about the essence of music, its value, and how it can like inspire others to do things or make them believe things in themselves that they wouldn't do it alone for, you know? That's why I love Yoongi so much, and I just hope he's okay right now. Would you like to give me a song recommendation for my special segment? Yeah.
Okay, let's pull that up.
What can you recommend to people while they patiently wait for BTS?
Currently on Wonhoo, What Would You Do? I love that song.
What would you do?
Yeah, by Wonhoo.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, that's my favorite song right now.
Wait, there's our song recommendation while we wait for BTS. Here's the other thing. I guess leaving final moments, really. Why do you continue to stand BTS despite the lack of new content in this enlistment era, the pre-recordedness of it all, and also like a slight separation and disconnection that we've never experienced before? Tell me, why?
Oh, wow. It's a healing thing for me. They've helped in certain ways for my mental health. So, like, going back to their old content and listening to older music, newer music, kind of keeps me grounded in a sense where I'm like, okay, it calms me, basically. It's like, okay, you know, it's basically like having your favorite teddy bear and you're like holding it, basically.
Oh,
I think that for me is why I continue to stand them, because they help me in that sense, where a lot of music does for a lot of people. Like, it helps you in a way where it kind of keeps you grounded and human to a certain extent, you know?
yeah,
I think that's the best way I
100%.
can explain it, really. Why I continue to stand them. They bring us some joy in my life where certain things don't. So yeah, I think that's why I continue to stand them. Why I continue to stand a lot of groups, really. There's a certain sense of kind of detaching from reality and be like a little bit of focus elsewhere, basically. You know?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That's really the end of it all, is to be able to focus on something else for a little while and be happy with that.
It's so crazy. It's like it's almost cringe kind of to like admit that, like, have you seen that one meme where it goes like me turning off the world and like it's like muting it and
Yeah.
then me music and then turning it all the way up? Like, girl, like it's cringe, but it's so freaking true.
It's true
And
though.
yeah, it's
But
true.
it also, it doesn't have to be just music. For everyone it's different. As
Yes.
long as it's a healthy way of coping, why not?
Yes. We always must
Whether that be
emphasize.
reading, listening to music, watching TV shows, so forth,
Uh-huh.
if it's not disrupting your life in a way where it could,
Mm-hmm.
why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
And BTS is literally my why not too. Ever since like I connected with them through the music videos, and I love saying it like I connected with as if like I know them. I only say it because it's more like public personas. They do have a public front, but aspects of them are still in there because it's almost impossible to kind of completely separate that persona. I feel the same way about the reason why I continue to still listen to their music, why I follow up with them in terms of social media and online stuff. And it's generally just because they're the best distraction ever. And when there's so much stresses and stressors going on, it makes me feel like super overwhelmed and mega vulnerable. And I feel like ever since I've had an interest in music, I gravitated towards different genres because they all have different feelings. And K-pop to me has starting to feel, and BTS also, because they were the first ever K-pop group I've been ever introduced to and have remained with for so long. BTS to me is like the embodiment when things go right. They're the
Yeah.
embodiment of when you are patient with yourself enough so you can see the fruits of your labor actually start. And they're just a crazy cool success story that
Yeah, they
is so
are.
real, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, and I make it so personal, but at the end of the day, that's just like, In this episode, you heard us talk about everything with special guest Casey. We talked about our respective BTS journey, when we started standing them, how, and also most importantly, why. A little bit of the healing power of music as well as the group itself. And also the most important stuff too, obviously our biases, why we stand them and all of that great stuff. And how BTS's music does touch on some very important themes that mean so much to us, like mental health. Thank you so much for joining us on Missing BTS Hours. Again, I'm Cindy, and I really hope you enjoyed listening. I always place the things that we talk about in the show notes, so check that out. And also subscribe to Missing BTS Hours to stay with us for each new episode. I also have an Instagram page at Missing BTS Hours, and we'll be posting updates and reminders of new episode launches, so also check that out. We will see you soon. Thanks.